Hey, Stu.
Tom, how are you, sir?
Good, bud. Good. So this is Tactical Fitness Report with Stu Smith, podcast number 52.
All right, here we
This
go.
is this is the classic PT week for PT tests. So we're going to roll through the design, the common design you use for a week of PT this year, not this year, these days.
Right. Well, I've been doing this for a long time, and some of these workouts you're going to see that we talk about, I've been doing over 30 years.
It's amazing.
And I love them. And they're fantastic for building repetitions and speed for PT testing, at least the PT side. And then if you notice in this, I also incorporate what we talked about in the last, I guess, Tactical Fitness Report. Was it 50? No, 51, when we talked about the timed run section.
Yeah.
So I kind of incorporated a little bit of that into the PT cycle. So you have to do both in the same day or the same hour. Might as well practice them in the same week as well. So this is really a PT and running workout program.
So, Stu, I just was worried. I mean, you know me a long time. Did you notice I'm using a different hair gel these days?
You know what? I was sitting there thinking the other day, I was like, did he used to have hair?
Yeah.
I think he used to have hair. And I'm trying to think, I was like, maybe he was always bald. I don't know. Not something I noticed.
So I think you know that the treatments this summer were pretty harsh, man. I lost my hair in the first, I think it was the first 4 or 5 days, man. My hair was, whatever hair I had was gone.
Right.
And so now it's coming back in tufts in the back. It's the damnedest thing you've ever seen. So I just
shave it. Yeah.
It's done. Yeah, it's done. It's
probably
done.
wise to do that.
No,
yeah, I mean, mine's slowly going back. It's, I used to have bangs. Saw pictures of me the other day with bangs. It happens.
It's funny. I know you. I always kept it short just because it was the easiest thing with all the physical activity is the easiest thing. Yeah. Man, now it's just you just shave your whole head, your face. It's great.
All right.
All right, buddy. So day one on Monday, you like the PT pyramid. So spend a second and talk about that. We've talked about it a lot on these, but talk about the purpose behind it and why you like it on a Monday and so forth.
Well, it doesn't really matter if it's a Monday personally, but I mean, it's just the start of the week. You might as well hit it hard. And I use the PT pyramid as really it's a good assessment tool to kind of see where your muscle endurance is, because, it's real easy to do 1 pull-up, 2 push-ups, and 3 sit-ups. And then you got to do 2, 4, 6, 3, 6, 9, 4, 8, 12, 5, 10, 15. Starts getting a little harder and harder as you go up the pyramid. And eventually you're going to fail at something along your journey up this pyramid. And that is a good way to kind of see how you are progressing with your muscle endurance adaptations, when you're getting better at these PT tests. So it's a classic. Like I said, this is one of those I've been doing for over 30 years, and it has never let me down.
The other thing that you taught me about this that I really like is that the pyramid is a good way to start off because it warms you. By definition, it warms you up.
Oh, absolutely. It is a warm up, a max out, and a cool down all built into a workout. Mm-hmm. That's a great reason why to use it, just for that.
Yeah, and I see the workouts that you've put together for me for the next 2 weeks. They have a lot of. You start me out with pyramids.
Yeah, pyramid warm-ups. I love to do a pyramid. In fact, I've kind of adapted them a little bit over the years, and instead of just doing a pyramid and calling it that, I actually incorporate pyramids just about for every day now. So we'll do a what I call the run pyramid, run PT pyramid, where you do 1 push-up, run to the other side of a basketball court or tennis court or 25, 30 yards on a football field. Do 2 push-ups, run back 3 push-ups, run back 4 push-ups. Just go back and forth like that, and you just build up. I mean, you can turn that into a workout and go up to 20 if you so choose, or you can, just go up to 5 or 10 and then go into the weight room and start doing your workouts. On leg days, we do the same thing with squats. On some days we do it with burpees, make it suck worse.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. So then on day 2, you like the run leg PT.
Yeah, let me just finish up on day 1. On day 1, we also run too. So there is some form of run that goes in there. We'll even, like, maybe every 5th set, run a quarter mile, or a half mile at your goal pace. That's something that you can add in there as well to work on your running and work on your PT at the same time, because something you have to get used to with these PT tests is you have to get used to running after you have done pull-up, push-ups, and sit-ups, depending on your PT test.
Yep.
So it's just good to get used to that.
Yep. So you like PT pyramid. You like to have it not only be calisthenics, but also some running mixed in.
Absolutely.
With it.
Yeah.
All right. So day 2 then is the run leg PT.
Yes. And by the way, all these are linked in the description. So it's a great article that kind of sets out the whole week for you. In fact, I usually set my workouts up like this anyway. So each column is a workout, and it's set up like that. In fact, my books are even like that. So tactical fitness,
Yep.
Set up a column. You just do the column for that day, and that's how these columns kind of shake out. In this article, it's not really written like that because for some reason, military.com don't like to use charts in their articles, so you can still see it. It's one big column, but it breaks up the days. But yeah, day 2 is more of a run and leg PT day. You got to give your upper body a day off. A lot of people think that just because they're push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups, you can do them every day. I don't recommend doing those exercises every day at this kind of volume, because if you do a 1 to 10 back down to 1 pyramid, you will be doing 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 sit-ups, right? That kind of volume requires a recovery day. So it's just like you're lifting weights. You don't do bench press 5 days a week. I don't think you should do push-ups 5 days a week, unless you're waking up in the morning and you're doing 10 or 15 push-ups and that's all you do.
Yeah.
That's a different type of volume. So anyway, day 2 is a run and leg PT, and we're going to focus on your goal mile pace. So your quarter mile intervals, or you can do half mile intervals even, are set at your goal pace. So if you want to run a 9-minute mile and a half, you need to run these quarter miles in 90 seconds or a minute 30, half mile in 3 minutes. So just do the math, and that's your goal pace to kind of help you muscle memory that. And then you throw in some kind of squats or lunges, in between the sets. Some people like to, add in another type of ab, maybe flutter kicks, or you can add in farmer walks, run up and down the bleachers, just whatever you want to do. And repeat this several times. If you can do this 6 to 8, maybe even 10 times, you're going to build that kind of volume that you need to be able to run a 1.5 mile or 2 mile timed run. So that's really what that one's all about, day 2.
And so the purpose there, Stu, is to get your time in your head and your body, right? To know what it takes to run these paces.
Yes. Yeah. And if you do a 4 mile timed run, if you do a 1.5 mile timed run and you're at 12 minutes, right? So if you're doing that, you're at an 8-minute mile pace. So a logical goal for you next time you start your training program would try to be to do a 7-minute mile pace, right? And you're going to gradually progress to a 7:45 and a 7:30 and drop down to 7, but you might as well start preparing your body for that 7-minute mile pace goal, shooting for a 10:30 mile and a half, which would mean you're going to run that quarter mile in a minute 45 seconds. You're going to run the half mile in 3:30, and so on. Your mile split's going to be 7-minute miles, so that's what I would recommend doing. If you're at 8 minutes, try to start flirting around with the 7-minute mile pace. If you're at 7 minutes and it's, like I said, these are comfortable 7-minute paces for you, try to flirt around with the 6-minute pace, right? And do that. So that's what I mean by goal pace, for this. And when you do that enough, you're going to understand how it feels when you're breathing to do this run. You're going to feel, how your arm swing's moving, how your leg stride's moving, all those things kind of come into play. And then when you're running, when you're running on your own without a track or even with a track, you can say to yourself before you finish that first lap, all right, this feels like a 7-minute mile pace. So it's muscle memory in the pace. And to do that, you have to practice. Yeah.
So then you move on to day 3, and this is normally Wednesday, and you have PT supersets in here.
Yeah, I love the superset as well. I think my favorite is probably the pyramid. That's why I like to do those first. But the superset's a good alternative as well. And what you're looking at is multiple sets of sub-max rep level effort. So if you're doing like 10 sets of 10 pull-ups, maybe your pull-up max is 15, so you drop it down to 10. Your push-up max is 50, but you drop it down to 20, right? And so you just figure out and play around with it and see if you can maintain that for 10 sets. You'll be surprised that 10 sets of 10 pull-ups gets pretty hard, even if you can do 15 to 20 pull-ups in a single set. I mean, that kind of volume starts building up on itself, and by sets 5, 6, 7, you're saying, whoo, this turned into a tough workout. So once again, what we're trying to do is we're taking strength exercises that are, these are considered strength exercises. However, your first one is a strength movement. Your 20th pull-up is a muscle endurance movement. So you have to turn a strength exercise into an endurance exercise, and to play with that, you need the volume to do that.
Stu, I know in your some of your programs, if you go back to your first book, actually, the Navy SEAL Fitness book, you put time limits on these sets. Yes, reach for it. There we go.
This one?
That one right there.
Yeah, the classic.
Yep. And for those that really know you well, they've got the one with you with your dress whites in the front.
Yeah, that was bad.
We won't get into that.
I don't want to talk about my publisher screwed up.
Anyway,
so much.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But you have in that book, you set time limits for how long you have to complete the set.
Yeah. That's another great way to do this. In fact, if you want to do it like maybe do an alternate, this is where rest with crunches comes in, or rest with abs comes
Yes.
in, because you're going to do like 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 10 wide push-ups, 10 reverse crunches, 10 close grip push-ups, and maybe 5 or 10 flutter kicks or something. You do a push exercise, rest with abs. You throw in pull-ups in there as well, at the top or the bottom, and you try to hit that in a 2-minute cycle. So you are really moving out. Now, if you don't want to worry about the 2-minute cycle, that's fine too. What you can do on the bottom end of that little circuit is throw a 1/4 mile run into it. Then it gets really tough. You do that 1/4 mile. So you're almost resting your push muscles and pull muscles with running now. And you come back around and do that again. So there's so many different ways to make these superset circuits work for you. And in the article, you'll see all the different ways that we do that and make additions to it with running and just keep it really PT test centric.
Yep. And that one you can really make intense when you start adding the aerobic piece and you add time in there.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can make those PT supersets really intense workouts.
And you could throw in some speed work in there too and make those fast runs, or you can make them goal pace runs. It's kind of up to you.
So day 4, Thursday, a run and sprint interval day.
Yeah, this one's a tough one. This one's just running. You can put in some leg PT in there if you prefer, but this one is really to try to push your, you know, your cardiovascular threshold, so to speak, and, you know, just make yourself run faster. You know, there's no set pace to it. You're not trying to muscle memory this distance. You're just trying to get a certain distance as fast as you can. And you might be able to add some hills into this one, bleachers, you know, even try some non-impact options too, and do Tabata intervals where you're just sprinting really as fast as you can for 20 seconds and then easy for 10 seconds. You do that for 5 minutes. All of these are about getting your heart, lungs, and legs moving faster than they are used to moving, right? And it's just building a better cardiovascular base for you.
And Stu, for those that aren't that familiar with Tabata, spend a second on how you use Tabata.
Well, I typically just use Tabata intervals for some type of cardiovascular. Just to let you know, Tabata intervals named after Japanese physiologist Tabata, and he uses them for many things. I think they have since been used for a variety of things, from calisthenics to weights and kettlebell swings, and you know, you can kind of alter them to fit whatever, you know, interval goal you want to do. But I typically just use them for running or biking or elliptical or rowing, so some type of cardio event.
And it's the design is 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off.
Yes.
Or 20-second exercise, 10-second rest. And then you do that for?
You know, typically it's actually pretty challenging to go much further than 5 or 7 minutes. You can, if you want to try that. I typically go like 5-6 minutes and then take an easy 2 minutes of trying to catch my breath while still moving. I'm just dropped it down a notch and try to go easy, catch my breath, whether it's on a bike or a rowing machine, and then do it again, you know, and try to do those 5-6 minute sets for, you know, 3 or 4 cycles, you know, so you got a 20-minute workout, so to speak, but there's like 2-minute, 3-minute rest sets in there. A lot of people go 7 on and 3 off, right? So you go 7 minutes real hard with the Tabata intervals with 20 and 10-second intervals. And then you take 3 minutes nice and easy and do that 3 times. You know, do the math, you got a 30-minute workout.
Yeah, and anybody that you know, if they're really hardcore and have not done this, you introduced me to putting this in, actually years ago, and then my son did again not too long ago, and then you and I did them but a few months ago. Yeah. They really are an interesting design of adding intensity. I mean, it's a really smart way of adding intensity,
and it's doable. You know, it's doable for many levels of fitness as well. Yeah. You know, if you can only do it a couple of rounds, that's great. You know, you went anaerobic, you know, for a couple of minutes. You know, nothing wrong with that.
So then moving to either Friday or Saturday, you use this as this is my favorite, is the max rep set workouts. And sometimes you throw in a mobility day these days.
Yeah. You know what I'll do? Sometimes you may not be fully recovered yet from the Monday, Wednesday upper body workouts. So I'll bump it over a day and push it over to Saturday. But on that Friday, instead of doing upper body and we just did legs the day before or sprints the day before, I'll just make it a nice, easy cardio day. Maybe add in some mobility work too, with foam rolling and stretching, easy swim with treading, just kind of loosen things up a little bit. Just make an easy day. The reason why I do that is it helps you so much when you do this max rep set workout, because the max rep set workout is tough. And it's ideal for those who are stuck at maybe 15 pull-ups or 70 push-ups, 70 sit-ups, and they just want to push that next layer and try to get 20, 100 on their PT tests. And I've seen people, you know, if they do this max rep set workout once a week with a day off before it, within a month, maybe 6 weeks, they're nailing all those scores, you know, 20, 25 pull-ups, you know, 100 plus push-ups and sit-ups. You know, you can even add dips in there too, and get those to, skyrocket as well. But here's how it works. Typically, the way we do it is we set a number up. So depending on your abilities, I'm going to say 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 sit-ups. Now, if you notice, that looks kind of like the Murph, which he does, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats. Well, we've been doing 100, 200, 300 workouts for decades, and we just use it for the PT test, exercises. So we also do the Murph too. We love it. But anyway, so you can run a mile prior to this, kind of loosen up, and then start, maybe do a little small pyramid of push-ups and pull-ups, like 1 to 5, something real quick, real easy with some short runs in between, and then go into your max rep set. So now you're starting to count your reps, and you just max rep means go until you fail at pull-ups, right? And then move right into push-ups. Go until you fail at push-ups. Now, I like to set a time limit on this. So we'll either set it for 1 or 2 minutes, depending on what we're trying to do. 2 minutes, you're going to score pretty well. You might get 75, 80 in that first, 2 minutes. And then you go to sit-ups. You set the timer for 2 minutes as well, max rep sit-ups. And then if you want to make this a little harder, you can throw another quarter mile in there, come back around, max rep pull-ups again, right? And so you keep going through that cycle, and you just keep track of the math that you've done. Let's say you've done 20 pull-ups the first round, you've done 18 the second round, and you've done 70 the third, the second round on push-ups, 70 on the second round at sit-ups. Just keep the math in your head, of what you're doing, or you can write it down. And then you're done when you can get 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 sit-ups. And some of the best workout guys I've ever seen do this workout were able to do it in 3 sets.
That's incredible.
Yes. I mean, that's 30 plus pull-ups every time. And they're not kipping pull-ups. I mean, these are real pull-ups, because we're trying to get ready for a PT test. I've done it 4 in my life, and I typically do 5, 5 or 6. If sometimes I'll drop it, I'll add another set just because it's futile. To try it in 5, and just take an extra lap around the track and come back around and come back fresh and, somewhat fresh, and finish that setup pretty easily in 6. So it's kind of up to you how you do it. I would recommend this if you're going to try this for the first time and you're starting to get to 8, 9, 10 sets, just stop it at 10 sets. Otherwise, you're just going to do too much, and your body's probably not used to that kind of intensity and volume for that many sets. I don't recommend doing it. Then if you do that on a Saturday, you definitely want to take Sunday off. And, that's why you coming back around on Monday, if you want to do the pyramid again, it helps you to warm up, because you're probably still going to be a little sore from that Saturday workout. So use the pyramid of Monday to kind of help loosen you up a little bit, the little hair of the dog that bit you, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah.
So on the just to clarify on the max rep set workout, let's say let's say in that 2 minutes, you're supposed to do 100, 200, 300, 100 pulls, 200 push, 300 sets. So let's say you do 50 and 50 in your pulls, in your push-ups.
Yeah.
Then what you do is you just stop doing push-ups. You take that out of the equation, but you continue on with the others until you reach the numbers, right?
Well, if you've only done 50 and 50, you've only done 100 push-ups.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yes. But yeah.
The concept, yeah.
I got what you're saying. When you finish your push-ups, and it's real easy to finish push-ups. A lot of people get, 80, and 40, and they're
40,
done, and so they're done in 3 sets. So then the 4th round, when you go through it, all you have to do is pull-ups and sit-ups.
Yeah. That just so people know that if you haven't done these before and you haven't seen it, you have a great article on this. Also, you'll link to.
Yeah.
But
it's in the description.
This one is it's a hardcore. I love this. Now this again is, you love it when you're in good shape. You don't love it when you're not in good shape.
Yeah. It's a good one. Like I said, I would call this, it's a fair one to use no matter what fitness level you're in. I mean, you want to be able to do pull-ups, right? But if your PT test doesn't require you to do pull-ups, then, don't worry about the pull-up section. I mean, I would still recommend doing pull-ups, or at least attempting them, or flexed arm hangs, just because they're a good balance exercise for all the pushing that you're going to do. So that's why I would recommend always, even if your PT test doesn't involve, pull-ups or dips, by all means, keep practicing those exercises as well, as just for the balance of your upper body.
So let's say you made it through all 5 days, and on Friday you took, or Thursday rather, on Thursday or Friday you took a mobility day because you needed it.
Right.
Then you don't necessarily, you want to take at least one day off. I'm not being really clear. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I actually have this written out as a 6-day week, right? So you have 6 days to fit into your 7-day week.
7 days, yeah.
Right. So one of those days takes into account for a cardio mobility day as well. So like I said, I typically do this now where I'll do pretty hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, take Friday, make it a mobility day, kind of easy, hit Saturday really hard, and then take Sunday off. Right. And that Sunday off can also be what I call kind of like a mini mobility day, where you do warm up a little bit, you stretch, you foam roll, ice if you need to ice something that's bothering you. Because I tell you what, this volume like this can cause some tendonitis, whether it's running tendonitis in your knees or it's elbow tendonitis, from all the push-ups and pull-ups. You have to definitely take care of yourself and stretch. You can stretch throughout the workout, stretch after the workout while you're still warm, just to kind of help yourself cool down a little bit. Because like I said, the problem with getting good at these calisthenic exercises just requires a lot of volume, and that volume comes with a price sometimes.
Yeah. And the other thing, Stu, is that to this, you usually like to add the core exercises and lightweight shoulder workouts. So describe those two, the core exercises that you like, and then the lightweight shoulder, and describe why you like to do them.
Yeah, one, I like the and I'll put links into these as well. I like to do the lightweight shoulder just because it is a great, 6 exercises with 5-pound dumbbells that just help your rotator cuff muscles just stay a little bit stronger. And you're not taxing them in any way. It's actually a pretty safe. I learned it through physical therapy when I hurt my shoulder, and I've been using it ever since. 20 years now, and I use it every upper body day. I use it at least once. Sometimes I'll do it twice. Sometimes I'll do it with a 5-pound set of dumbbells. Sometimes I'll do it with no weight at all, just to do it. But they're great, and the link of it's in there. I even have a YouTube video of me doing it. If you
and the other thing
Google
about
lightweight shoulders
too, Stu, the lightweight shoulder, is that you can be incredibly strong and find that with 5-pound dumbbells, that lightweight shoulder exercise, especially if you don't take any time in between the exercises, if you just move all 6 with no rest, that in itself can be really taxing and make you really look not very impressive in a gym if you're doing it with 5-pound dumbbells.
That is very true. And you got the grimace on your face.
Yeah, exactly.
5-pound dumbbells. I mean, it is tough, especially if you have some imbalances in the smallest muscles of your shoulder. Everybody works their deltoids, rear delts, traps, in their shoulders, but this actually works. I mean, it works a little bit of those too, but it really digs in there and works those 4 rotator cuff muscles that are very small. They tire out very fast, but they recover very fast. That's the neat thing about it. And I love this workout for that. So I always throw that in there on upper body days. Another one I like to throw in there is I call the PT reset exercise. So I've been doing all this pushing. I've been doing all the pulling. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a reverse push-up. Right, which you just lay on your belly, and instead of pushing the ground and lifting your body off the ground, you just lift your hands off the ground. So now you're lifting your hands off the ground and you're flexing your upper back. It's really similar to a reverse fly. Reverse flies are great for a balancing exercise for push-ups. especially when you're getting into this kind of volume. And then we do the bird exercise, which you're laying on the ground. You just flap your arms up and down like a bird. Once again, very similar to the reverse fly exercise. You're just focusing on the flex part of that exercise, top part of the full movement. And then the arm hauler, which is really just a horizontal jumping jack with your hands 3 inches off the ground. So once again, it's just that's an upper body core exercise. So we're just working the upper back muscles. And then, anytime you're doing a lot of sit-ups, I highly recommend also working the lower back. And part of that PT reset, we do little swimmer exercises and plank poses. So the swimmer, you lay on your belly and you do flutter kicks like this with your knees and thighs off the ground, flexing your lower back pretty tight. It's a good isometric flex of your lower back. Real similar to Superman's, that exercise, but you just little flutter kicks like that while you're on your stomach. And then get in the plank pose, push-up position, hang out there for 4 or 5 minutes. And it's just a good isometric flex of your lower back. And what I think those two by themselves are probably the 2 safest lower back exercises there are, because you're not lifting a lot of heavy weights. You're just flexing and isometrically flexing your lower back muscles, which are often neglected when you do a lot of sit-ups. People complain that sit-ups are hurting their lower back. I think we have a lot of other things that are hurting our lower back, like sitting in a desk all day, being inflexible, not having, by adding these little flutter kicks and plank poses, you can really do yourself a favor. And when you start practicing sit-ups again for PT tests, your back doesn't hurt you. So anyway.
Yeah, the other one that you've had in, and I was doing them over the last few weeks when you've had me doing some recovery PT to get myself back going. You have me do the right arm, left leg lifts. And that's and describe that one for everybody.
Yeah, that's a good one where, once again, you're laying on your belly. And instead of doing swimmers, because those swimmers, I make it out like they're easy. They're pretty hard. A plank is really hard, too. A lot of people can't do plank poses. They have to do maybe plank poses on their knees. But this is a good way, and it's also a crisscross across your spine. So you're going to lift your left arm off the ground as high as you can and your right leg off the ground as high as you can while you're on your belly. And you just go up and down 10 times, and then you switch it to the right arm, left leg, switch it. And like I said, it's just cross connecting, your muscle groups, through your spine. And it's a really good, once again, I call it all of those are a great PT reset. And it just helps your body to kind of reset after doing all of these high repetition calisthenics.
So on that one, what I've noticed, because you've had me go back to doing that, I've noticed I have an imbalance where my right one side lifting that right arm, left leg, I can lift a lot higher than I can my left arm, right leg. And so just like everything else, you can create an imbalance. You can have an imbalance in your body. And what that does is points out that imbalance that you have to correct.
Right. And, there's other ways to do that. I mean, it could be a previous injury that, just you still have scar tissue in there and it's preventing some full range of motion. Who knows? Physical therapists will be able to, pinpoint exactly what's going on and then give you some really precise exercises to do it. These are kind of general exercises to just kind of get you thinking about, hey, I did a lot of push-ups today. I need to also consider my upper back. Hey, I did a lot of sit-ups today. I need to consider my lower back. Just like you would work your arms, you work your biceps, you're going to also want to work your triceps. Otherwise, you have big biceps and little triceps. Same with thighs. Think about front and back of your body. And those are typical balance points, of our body, especially when it's dealing with your posture. Because, if you've seen guys that just do nothing but bench press, and they get forward internal rotation and their shoulders are slumped forward and their palms are like this, just kind of sitting there like they can't even put their hands by their side. They're so forwardly internally rotated. So these that happens too, so that person would probably need to work on some upper back exercises. Rows are great for it. Bent over rows, machine rows, dumbbell rows, you name it. Those are great ways to kind of balance out all the pushing exercises you're doing with your chest.
Yeah. So the design of this is that you don't do the same thing every day.
Yeah, it's variety.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
think
variety.
variety is key to your performance.
And the other is you've constructed in a way that it becomes harder. It starts out on Monday with a pyramid, which is hard in itself, but it starts out fairly easy.
Right.
Then as you go through, supersets are hard from the beginning, and then by the time you get to the max day, which is at the end of the week, it starts out the first set. You're going max from the beginning.
Yeah. I would say this, like the pyramid, you're going to have a couple of sets where you are hitting failure, right? And then once you hit failure, you just come back down and you'll quit failing, right? And it'd be a little bit easier, almost like a cool down. That middle one, the superset workout, you're going to have probably more sets than where you're pushing your max effort level, right? Maybe your first 2 or 3 aren't that tough because they're all sub max, but then eventually, your endurance is going to give way, and you're going to have to really push yourself to hit those numbers again. And then the final one, you're right. That one's pure pushing yourself, every set just to see where you get. And like I said, I only like to do that once a week. And, if you're feeling it, like if you're really still feeling it on Monday, don't do too much on Monday. Give yourself a day off and move that PT pyramid over to Tuesday if you have to, because that one's a hard one. Eventually you're going to get used to it and you'll recover in a day and you'll be ready to roll again on Monday. But your first time around, you're probably going to really feel that. Another thing I like to do too is once like the pyramids get real easy and you can do a 1-10-1, no problem, start adding in the TRX, right? And so make those push-ups, TRX atomic push-ups. Or you can make, make the abs instead of sit-ups. You can throw in a variety of type of abs in there. You can throw in the rollout with the TRX, or you can do, flutter kicks or leg levers, scissors, just play around with the instead of making them sit-ups, make them abs a choice every set. So, or you keep going, you go past 10, you can go up to 15 and go on to 20. I mean, a 1-10-1 pyramid is 100 pull-ups. A 1-20 pyramid is, or don't just go up to 1-20, which is really hard to do. You don't have to come back down at so many reps. 1-20, if you do the math, that's 210 pull-ups, right? That's a huge workout, right? And double your push-ups and triple your sit-ups. You've gone beyond probably what you need to do to master a PT test, but they're fun challenges. If you can try that, and that's where you want to start adding variety to your exercises, just because the same old exercise, set after set after set of that, and multiple hundreds of repetitions, you're going to want to change things up and not do sit-ups the whole time. Maybe add in plank pose, because when you get, up to 20, right, that means you got to triple it. So that's 60 sit-ups you got to do after you've done 1 through 19. You might want to just say, for every sit-up that I'm doing, I'm going to do a second worth of plank pose, right? And you can do that every other set. So you're going to cut your sit-ups in half, but you're going to add plank on the even sets and do sit-ups on the odd sets. Like I said, get creative with this, and you can really have fun with, balancing out your workout and making a good program that's not only great for PT tests, but are just great for, building muscle and endurance and muscle stamina, speed on running. Yeah. So like I said, I call it the classic week of PT, because it's just about every classic progressive workout that we've been doing for decades, all in 1 week.
Yeah. And I think the only thing that you would say is throw in the opposite PT work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which is the core work, to work the backside of your system. To counter what you're doing with the front.
Exactly. I'll put both articles in there in the description. There's the classic PT week, and then there's the PT reset week.
Yeah.
And I'll throw the lightweight shoulder article in there.
Perfect.
And that way you can check it out for yourself.
All right, pal. Well, classic PT week. This was podcast number 52.
Nice.
Tactical Fitness Report with Stu Smith. All
And
right,
Tom
pal.
Cowan. Thank you.
Good to talk to you, bud. Later.
You too.